You know why everything hurts? You know why I'm aging so quickly? You know why Kyle Shanahan's aged 20 years in the last 10? Electoral Substation. Have you guys seen this? I think you probably have. Chase Sr. brought it up a couple months ago on Twitter, and then it's gotten new life on Instagram and Twitter. And it's interesting and intriguing, but like there's not a lot of evidence. So I don't really have an opinion on it. Just so the background. The Niners have been training at this facility in Santa Clara since like 1988. They moved their stadium down there in 2014. Right around that time, they became perennially one of the most injured teams in the league, and their injuries are often soft tissue stuff. Like they've had like 18 hamstring injuries this year. Kittle just tore his Achilles. Bosa ACL twice since he's been in the league with the Niners. I mean, there's a lot of evidence. Not evidence, but like examples. The Niners, it's a consistent issue, and they're the biggest offenders, and they have they found no explanation. So this pops up, and there's not a lot of like science behind it. But my thing is like, what if George Kittle believes it's true? He's your team. He just tore his Achilles. What if he now thinks it's true? What if the locker room think that there's something to it? What if it's a real thing with the players? And I'll take it a step further. They'll probably never prove that it has a direct causation or even a correlation with these injuries, but they probably won't disprove it either. And that means it's going to come down to what individual players think. And it also means that it might have an impact. And so, as long as this is an issue year after year, game after game, and you can't find the issue, and there's a 0.01% chance that this is a factor, why even chance it? You're worth $8 billion. You sell off a portion of your team every 3 months. I mean, you could cash out $500 million whenever you want just by selling another portion of the team. I mean, player safety and it's not just player safety for the sake of player safety, right? It's like this is negatively impacting your ability to win the Super Bowl. It's a great story this year. And if the Niners fall short, everyone will talk about how this was one of the greatest seasons in franchise history and one of the greatest coaching jobs we've ever seen because of all the injuries and what they've had to overcome. Like eventually that's got to not be the story anymore. They got to find a way to not be that team and just be like average when it comes to injuries and stuff. So what if George Kittle thinks it's this and he's like, you know what? I think we should move. I wouldn't do it for him, but what if they just experimented next year with doing training camp somewhere else? What if they did training camp in Rockland where they used to do it, up by Sacramento, or in Redwood City, or in Alameda? What if they moved over to Alameda, where the Raiders used to have their facility, and did training camp there for a year? What if there suddenly were way fewer hamstring injuries? Maybe you just figured something out. Or maybe the issue persists. I'm just saying, like, it's a variable. You have this huge electrical substation right there. We don't know if it has an impact. You could assume it doesn't, but the fact that the Niners have had this issue year after year for like 13 years in a row, maybe this is one variable you want to look into. Maybe have training camp. I mean, what's the big deal about having training camp? A lot of teams have destination training camps. The Raiders used to have training camp in Napa every year. That's not where their facility is. Move your training camp to UCLA. The Cowboys go do it in where? Ventura, California. It's worth a shot. This is an interesting topic too because it feels very like politically coded. If you're left wing, you're going to be like, this is hocus pocus. And if you're right wing, you're going to be like, this is intriguing. And people just kind of argue back and forth. And they're really just arguing their political biases or whatever. I'm not a very political person. And I find this interesting because it triggers so many people. But if I were worth $10 billion and my team was always the most injured team in the league and this was there, I would move. Even if it is hocus pocus. Like I don't need it. I'm rich enough to not have to worry about that. Jed's rich enough to not have that be an issue. Even if it's not an issue.